Tucker Carlson interviewed SBF from prison, and this is exactly what he said. On March 6th, Tucker Carlson interviewed a person that we've talked about a little while ago, and that is Sam Bankman-Fried, also known as SBF. He currently is in federal prison for stealing millions and millions of American dollars because of the fact that SBF went and stole millions and millions of dollars out of FTX, which is what we talked about months and months ago. He stole millions of dollars from the American people and he never gave that back. But during this said interview, instead of Tucker Carlson asking questions like, why did he do this? Like, why did he do this? Why is he stealing the money? Is he going to give the money back? No. Instead, he asks him about P. Diddy, Democrats' response to SBF crypto, and Trump personal reflection, criminal perception, and future outlook, which are not questions that you ask a person that stole millions and millions of dollars from the American people and is serving time because of that reason. Tucker then goes on to ask SBF if he thinks that the reason why he got locked up behind bars is the fact that he didn't donate enough money to the Democratic Party. Like, listen, I do not like the Democratic Party as much as the next person, but I'm not going to sit here and say that if you don't give enough to a certain party, then that means that you're going to get locked up. And if there's not enough money being transferred, no, I'm not going to sit here and say that at all. It shouldn't happen no matter how little or how much the money it is. Tucker Carlson's bizarre personal interview with Sam Bankman-Fried left many people scratching their heads last week. This week brought a different kind of spectacle as President Trump turned the White House into a Tesla showroom. Trump gets Teslas delivered directly to the White House. On March 11, Trump and Elon Musk teamed up and had a bunch of Teslas delivered straight to the White House, so President Trump can go through all of the different Teslas and choose which one he liked the best, which resulted in some awesome pictures, by the way, because Trump cannot take a picture that is not awesome. He ultimately chose the Tesla Model S, which is in red, and he looked very good behind it. It's very, very fast car, 0 to 60 in about 2.3 seconds, so I hope it buckles in. Elon Musk was also there at the White House with his son X, but of course, like everything else, a lot of people are complaining about this and saying yada yada yada. As a government official, you're not supposed to do this, and yada yada blah 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 blah. Shut up. Nobody cares. But we all remember back to a few years ago when Joe Biden had his own press conference. He had Ford and Chevy behind him. He got inside of the electric F-150 while the media reporters were asking him questions. He said,
Mr. President, can I ask you a quick question on Israel before you drive away?
No, you can't. Not unless you get in front of the car as I step on it.
Which a lot of people were like, oh, that's just Uncle Joe Biden. That's just him kidding around. No, shut up. Don't make excuses for Grandpa Joe over there. While Trump was very busy test driving Teslas at the White House, across the globe, diplomatic wheels are turning as Secretary of State Marco Rubio headed to Ukraine to discuss a potential mineral deal, which at this very point of filming has already been signed. Everything is all good. Military assistance is back in Ukraine's favor. We're now talking to Ukraine again because of the fact that we cut off aid to Ukraine a few days ago. So this is a very developing thing as for right now. Again, this whole entire video was going to be about the Ukraine mineral deal possibly being back on because of the fact that, like I said, the United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio just went to Ukraine to talk about a possible mineral deal, but it has already been signed, so we are all good in that part because of the fact that Volodymyr Zelensky issued a very public apology to President Trump just a few days ago. It's ultimately sad, though, that this war could have been over weeks ago while he was at the White House. But like I said, I very much hope that this mineral deal continues to go through because it is going to benefit America at the end of the day. The diplomatic efforts unfolding in Ukraine with hopes of a mineral deal to bolster the United States back home, President Trump is grappling with economic uncertainties, shifting focus from international gains to domestic challenges. Trump's take on possible recession. So a few days ago, Trump was asked about the possibility of a possible recession for the United States economy, and he said that he does not know what's in store for the future of the economy, which is a very, very good answer, by the way. As for right now, we do find it very hard to predict things because things are moving very, very fast. He cannot say that he's not trying his best, and he's very much trying to mitigate a disaster that Joe Biden left him. Can we remember this? Which is very true. He's only been in office for about 50 days. That's definitely not enough time to actually influence any economy decisions. While Trump navigates the unpredictable currents of a potential recession at home, his administration's trade policies are already making waves abroad. As Ontario, Canada, suspends the 25% tariff it currently put on United States exports. So this is a developing thing, changes every single day because of the fact that Trump said that he's going to tax metal that is going from the United States to Canada Canada. The electric company said that they're going to drop their tariff now, so Trump ultimately wins. He's giving 2 American exports to Canada. It's a very hard situation at the same exact time because of the fact that, yes, Canada has been tariffing our food exports from America for a very long time now, but of course, that's not what the media says. Canada maintains the highest tariff, sometimes exceeding 200%, specifically in agricultural products, particularly though in dairy, poultry, and eggs. These tariffs can exceed 241% or higher when imports suppress the agreed upon quotas. Meanwhile, in the United States, if we have products that go over our quota, we impose tariffs, but not nearly as high, hitting around 25 to 50%, depending on the type of milk powder, and hitting 86% or more in butter rates, exceeding about 100% when above the quota, which is the exact thing that Trump was talking about. While Ontario's suspension of its 25% tariff on the United States electricity exports gets canceled, obviously offers a very brief de-escalation in the tensions between the United States and Canada, the stock market back home continues to reel from broader economic uncertainty, with the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 plummeting amid fears of tariffs and a slowing economy. Is the stock market plummeting? Let me break it down. If we look at the last couple of days, we can see that the Nasdaq dropped about 4% in the stock market altogether, dropping around the same amount for the S&P 500. This is because of the uncertainty around tariffs and our relationship with other countries, with other people saying that there is so many signals of economic slowdown, which we talked about last week, which the first quarter of GDP growth forecast dropping sharply to negative 2.4% annualized rate, down from 3.9% earlier in 2025, particularly due to a surge in imports as companies stockpile ahead of potential tariffs. Like we talked about, consumer spending is down 4% from 4.1% inflation, and interest rates concerns with inflation remains at 0.2%, slightly lower than expectations, but still signaling persistent and price pressures. The S&P 500 has also slid 8.6% from its February 19 peak, nearing correction territory, a 10% drop, while the Nasdaq dropped around 4%, like I said. As the stock market grapples with plummeting economic uncertainty, the Trump administration at the same exact time is stirring controversy with high-profile immigration actions, like the arrest of Mohammed Kahil, raising questions about political motivations amid a turbulent financial landscape. Is Trump arresting people for politically disagreeing with him? Short answer, absolutely not, no, never, no. That's a short answer. But let's dig in. Even though a lot of people are wrong on this very story, on March 8th, Mohammed Akayel, a Palestinian activist and a current green card holder and recent Columbia University graduate, was arrested by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, amid the Trump administration's crackdown on pro-Palestinian campus protesters. The government seeks to deport Kyle, citing a rare legal provision that allows the removal of migrants whose presence is deemed by the Secretary of State to have, quote, serious adverse foreign policy consequences. The administration has linked Kahil's protest activities to the alleged support of Hamas, a designated terrorist organization. Furman has also taken significant actions in this case, which is the judge in the case. On March 10, this very judge has issued an order temporarily blocking Kahil's deportation to preserve the court's jurisdiction, which he considered hereby corpus petition filed by the Kahil's lawyers. The petition challenges the legality of Kahil's detention, arguing that it violates his First Amendment right due to his political speech against Israel's action in Gaza. But again, he does not have any rights whatsoever because he's a green card holder. After a hearing on March 12, 2025, Furman extended this ban, allowing more time to actually evaluate the constitutional questions at play. While the Trump administration faces scrutiny over the arrest of Mohammed Akayil and its implications for free speech, the digital realm saw its upheaval as X endured a massive cyber attack, hinting at a broader wave of politically charged disruptions. Cyber attack on X, here's everything to know. From March 10 through March 11, multiple waves of outages affected X globally. Reports issued spiked around 5:45 a.m. EDT on March 10, with further disruptions throughout the day. It was identified as a distributed denial of service DDoS attack, a type of cyber assault where a target servers are overwhelmed with junk traffic to disrupt service. This caused X to become unresponsive, with users unable to load posts, view profiles, or log in. Over 40,000 outages were logged on Down Detector on March 10, peaking around 10 a.m., with some sources citing the up to 1.6 million reports reports globally by March 10, indicating a massive coordinated effort. At this time, we do not know exactly where this attack came from, but we can say that based on what Elon Musk said at the time, we can see that this is a politically motivated attack, just like the Tesla targets. As X reeled from a crippling DDoS attack that disrupted the global access, the chaos wasn't confirmed to one platform though. Well, Rumble was also facing outages that hint for a wider assault on free speech networks in the same turbulent week. Cyber attack on Rumble? Here's everything to know. X wasn't the only major platform this week to get cyber attacked. Rumble has also had a lot of outages reported. The pro-Palestinian hacktivist group, which is actually a really good name. I don't know who came up with that. That's a good name. Hacktivist. Dark Storm team claimed responsibility for X DDoS attack on March 10 via Telegram. Some sources like Know Your Meme mention Rumble as another target in the same way, suggesting a coordinated effort against platforms perceived as free speech hubs. It's plausible but not certain. The timing of this outage patterns and Dark Storm's broad targeting of Western entities, including the United States, where both platforms are based, suggests Rumble's issues could stem from the same DDoS campaign that hit X. Both platforms rely on similar internet infrastructures, so it could easily overwhelm multiple targets at the same exact time. However, without Rumble's official statement on the forensic data, trying the two, it's speculative, but Rumble still hasn't made any official statement on this yet. While Rumble and X grapple with the fallout of coordinated cyber attacks targeting free speech platforms, tragedy struck closer to home with another alternative media outlet, as an InfoWars reporter was killed in a violent incident that has sparked heated debate. InfoWars reporter was killed. Here's everything that we know. The Austin Police Department, the APD, responded to a call at approximately 11:56 p.m. on March 9 in the 2300 block of Douglas Street, South Austin, at the Challenger Apartments. Officers found White in the parking lot with obvious signs of trauma. He was transported to a local hospital but was pronounced dead at 12:19 a.m. On March 10, initial investigators suggest that White was shot and killed by at least two suspects who were possibly burglarizing his vehicle when he interrupted them. I guess wrong place, wrong time. You interrupted somebody breaking into your car. Pardon me. The suspects fled the scene in their own vehicle, reported stolen days after, so they stole a vehicle and then wanted to steal another vehicle, I guess. Obviously, the vehicle that they stole has been recovered, though no arrests have been made, which is just crazy to think about. As of March 12, 2025, it could update since then though. Jones announced White's death on March 10, calling it a brutal murder and attributing it partly to the policies of Austin's district attorneys Jose Garcia, whom he accused of being backed by George Soros and enabling crime. Jones claims White's death was a result of broader systemic issues, though he provided no specific evidence linking it to the targeted retribution for White's reporting. But the Austin Police Department is treating the case as Austin's 8th homicide of 2025. The detectives at the case believe that the motive was related to the burglary rather than White's profession. Though the investigation remains ongoing and we have limited details released about the suspects or the exact circumstances. As of this time, we will update you guys if there is any updates. While the tragic killing of an InfoWars reporter has cast a shadow over Austin, brighter news emerges on the economic front, as gas prices nationwide have plummeted to their lowest in 4 years, offering relief to the drivers amidst a surge in United States oil production. Gas is cheaper now than any time in history within the last 4 years. Here's the details. The oil production in this country has surged to record numbers. The United States is now the world's leading producer of crude oil, averaging around 13.4 million barrels a day in 2024, thanks largely to a hydraulic fracking, especially in states like Texas and North Dakota. The bloom has increased domestic supply, reducing reliance on imports and putting downward pressure on prices. Since crude oil is primarily cost component of gasoline, accounting for about 50 to 60% of pump price, the flood of supply directly translates to cheaper gas. Not to mention, crude oil markets have subsidized since the chaos of 2022. That year, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, energy supplies, spiking oil prices above 100 per barrel. Brent crude peaked near 120. By contrast, in 2025, Brent crude is averaging closer to $74 per barrel, reflecting calmer geopolitics and steady output from major producers like Saudi Arabia and Russia. No major supply stocks like hurricanes or Middle East conflicts have hit the oil regions recently, keeping prices sustained. Don't forget, the demand has softened, though. After a post-pandemic surge in 2021 and 2022, when drivers hit the roads again and refineries struggled to keep up, gas consumption has leveled up. In 2025, it's expected to rise slightly by 1.3 million barrels a day globally. This is before before the rapid growth seen earlier this decade. Meanwhile, seasonal trends help. Winter blends of gasoline used now are cheaper to produce than summer blends, and driving trends to drop in cooler months. Also, refinery dynamics play a role. While the United States refinery capacity has dropped slightly due to closures like the Lauren Basil's Houston refinery in oil 2025, net imports of gasoline have increased to offset this. Refinery margins like the crack spread are wider in 2024, but still narrower than in 2022 or 2023, meaning refineries aren't jacking up prices as much as they could, which is a good thing because they shouldn't. With that being said, we're going to do it for this episode. If you did enjoy this episode and you do want to see more, I do post new episodes of the show every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I did not upload this Wednesday because of the fact that I was trying to get new contacts, and we have that all situated now, so that's very good. We will not miss an upload from here on out. If we do, we're just going to upload it on Saturday, like I always explain to you guys. So do not worry, there's a new episode 3 times a week, no matter what. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening, and I hope they have a great rest of your day. Bye.